Hello there, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of the chat with myself and Ralph. This is going to be a particularly short one because I've actually got to go and pick my son up after he's been out. He's had a school trip for the last 4 days, so we've got to go and pick him up. And Ralph, he's got a lot of stuff. He's a busy man, right? He's a busy man, so he's got to anyway. So what we're going to do is this week we're just going to talk about one thing, and that one thing is the excitement that happened with regards to rumours about Ocado. Now, Ocado, as you all know, is a well-known a brand. It's it's an online food retail. It was. It did have a long-standing relationship with Waitrose. That lapsed after 20 years, and then that transferred over, and they had an agreement they have an agreement, a 50-50 joint venture with Marks and Spencer. Initially, went incredibly well, and I think that Marks and Spencer at the time wasn't doing particularly well. In their foods, there was a lot of confusion. I mean, I know anyone who's been to an M&S in the last year or so, you will have noticed the whole, the 3 for 4, the 3 for the price of 4, then 2. The very complicated kind of ways they did their offers and things. But I think that. That did when they took on Ocado, things got better in the food, and actually clothing and stuff started turning up. Although that's a separate thing, but over the last, I'd say, year, 6 to 8 months or something like that. Actually, it's not done as well. The share price has come back quite considerably over that time, and that's why everyone got very, very excited. Yesterday, whenever we say on Thursday, when there were rumours that Amazon was potentially going to buy Ocado. So, with that in mind. What do you think? What do you think about that, Ralph? I know that you're a fan of M&S and stuff, and Ocado even. So yeah, what do you think?
Well, the first thing I will have to say that we have to speak very quickly now because we haven't got much time. So people will not actually be able to make any sense of what I'm talking about, which is probably not different from a situation that it normally is. Right.
Good.
That was my idea as a joke. Sorry, guys. Nice. I'm German. I'm still working.
By the way,
understanding is sort of joke.
I've got to say to you, I went out for a drink the other night. I know that is wild. It
is wild.
And it was and it was young lawyers event, and I went along, and one person specifically came up to me, said he listens to the listens to the podcast, and he said he specifically likes the ones that you and I do, and he was referring to your German humour as really great. So anyway, there you go. So but anyway, carry on. What do you think?
Thank you very much for that.
That's
it was fantastic. He was probably the only person in the country who thinks that, and I salute you. Right. Okay. So what were we talking about again? Yes, retailers and buying groceries. So when I saw that very initially, I thought, this actually makes a lot of sense because Amazon is probably a company which is it's best known clearly for what it does. We all know what Amazon does, but so behind the scenes, it is best known for its warehousing capacity or capability.
Yep.
Its ability to use AI and sophisticated technology to automate their warehousing dynamics and procedures. And it is actually, I've seen something on YouTube once which went into how this is actually done. It is very impressive indeed, very professional. And of course it has to be, because otherwise you wouldn't actually get to be able to pull off feats like you order some stuff the Sunday morning and it comes to you admittedly late, but still on Sunday at 10 p.m., which happened to us many times. So I think that's absolutely astonishing. If you compare that with 20 years ago, where you actually had to go out physically to the retailer and then you wanted to buy whatever it might have been, just like a lead you might need to connect one bit of your stereo to the other one or something. And you hear, we're out of stock for that. We'll order it in. It won't be so long. just for 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. This is good old days, right? This is old school, people. That's is old school. Yeah, this is old school, right? I mean, actually, by the way, on that subject, I've just ordered a rice cooker from Amazon. I researched it deeply because I'm very particular about rice, right? So I've got this rice cooker coming, hopefully tomorrow. I'm hoping that it be picked out, it's coming, and it'll be here tomorrow.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, basically, people have observed that the speed of Amazon delivery is sort of inversely related to the speed whenever you buy anything from Watson's Daily.
Yeah, like a mug, for instance.
Like a mug, for example, which takes about 2 years to arrive.
Yeah. But I mean, it's handcrafted. It's dishwasher safe. It's all good.
Meaningful pause. You hear the total absence of humor in my voice, which is my normal voice, by the way.
Yes.
Anyway, so sorry. Joking aside, you have no time for this. So these are the good old days. The good old days were rarely good. They're just simply old. And what is happening today is what we all know. Behind this lies a technological capability which appears to me to be second to none. Now let's switch over to Ocado. Ocado is also extremely capable technologically, and they are interestingly technologically sophisticated in the same sort of technological bucket as Amazon are, which is to run automated warehouses.
Yeah.
Ever so often, ironically, you get the news that one of the warehouses might have burned down, so perhaps they should have put in better fire control, but that is a cynical comment because they appear to have that sorted now. And so if you put the two together, which is now, I'm of course referring to the rumored takeover of Ocado by Amazon. So if you put the two together, very initially I thought that would actually make a lot of sense because they are similar in capability. But then immediately afterwards I thought actually that's the reason why it wouldn't necessarily make a lot of sense. Why would Amazon buy a company which is very similar to its own? And the only reason which I can sort of think of is if you think about what Ocado is actually doing. It's an online, well, it's not an online grocer themselves. That's actually the interesting bit. They are the distribution
enabler,
company, the enabler. And I think you pointed out once that Ocado always suffered from a share rating on the stock exchange, which would give it, in fact, the rating of a retail company, of a retail grocer. And Ocado always wanted a tech rating, and then they did sort of get re-rated as a tech company and entered the FTSE 100. And so if you think about this situation now, what you have is Amazon may be buying a company with similar technological capabilities as itself for a price which arguably already reflects a lot of re-rating. And you wonder where the value actually lies. You've heard this from me on this show many times. You need to analyze takeovers always in the same way. You look at synergies, etc., and that is what you're hoping to understand in order to analyze the bid price. But in this particular case, I can't see many synergies. So here is what I think may be the motivation behind it. Amazon also runs a business which is similar to Ocado, at least tries to, which is, I think it's called Amazon Fresh. Certainly it used to be called Amazon Fresh. And it's also an online grocer. But if you look at the market share in the UK of Amazon Fresh, it's a bit more than 3%. No, it's not quite zero. Don't be so
but it's
dismissive.
Very tiny.
Tiny. It is in fact very small.
Very small. Whereas Amazon.
Just say that's your sense of humor. That wasn't my sense of humor. Don't even
it's
start.
Really small. It's really small.
Oh God.
Sorry. Yeah.
What did I? Why did I? My wife told me not to do this anymore. I know why. Anyway, so it's about 3%, and Ocado apparently is about 11. It used to be 19% in the pandemic. Has come down to about 11, 12 or so. But whatever it is multiples of what Amazon's market share is, and I can only guess at why that might be. And there is a sense that I have that Amazon to some extent maybe the victim of its own success.
Mm.
People being customers, normal people like me, not analysts, might actually think that Amazon is too big for its own good. It accumulates too much market power. I'm buying everything from Amazon already. Let me not buy my groceries from Amazon as well.
Yeah.
And so if that is in fact a valid point, then it might be that this contributed to Amazon's perceived intention here. It's a rumor, let's not forget, perceived intention to purchase Ocado, because they could just basically buy this, run it as a non-integrated or largely non-integrated part of their overall business, keep the brand name Ocado, and then just basically gain the benefit from an additional business. So 1 + 1 would equal 2 in this case, not like it's normally the case where 1 + 1 is hoped to equal something more than 2 through the synergies. So that's kind of what I thought. But I am interested in it. I think it would be an interesting merger.
Yeah, I mean, I think going back, I think that they're both obviously very interesting companies, and going back to the whole thing about Ocado, it was put together. I think it was together. It was started by a few people from Goldman Sachs, wasn't it? It was almost seen as a bit of a joke for quite a long time, because it never made any money, and then its technology became really good, and they decided that they wanted to then almost like license this technology or the expertise elsewhere. And I think it was a few years ago when it managed to sign up some big, supermarkets, as you say, like Kroger in the US. I think it has this one in Canada as well, and a French one. The deals. I think the first one, the one I can remember was a French one, and then it's people thought, oh, that's good, but that's a bit of a flash in the pan. And then they got another one and another one, and then suddenly they thought, actually, do you know what? Yes, we have rated them as a retailer for so long, but actually maybe they are right. Maybe they should be rated as a tech company. So as you say, they then went into the in the FTSE 100. But of course, tech companies haven't done particularly well since then. For the last year or two. But I think from a shareholder's point of view, I would have thought that having if Ocado became a purely tech company selling their retail tech to everyone, I think investors would probably like that, because it's a pure play. They could say, yes, retail tech, there's still loads more to go. They could sign up loads more. Online retail is still growing, albeit at a slower rate than it was under lockdown, for instance, but it's still growing. So it's all still there to do. Great, pure play. It's not sullied by any what's going on in retail, especially grocery retail, where the margins are really very, very thin indeed. I mean, if you want to be exposed to any kind of retail, I would argue that groceries are not necessarily it, especially in developed countries. So I think that on the surface it looks like, wow, this could make sense because they both do this, and maybe there's another thing where perhaps Amazon, which has really tried in groceries but hasn't really smashed it out of the park. So because they haven't done particularly well from it, maybe they could use the Ocado name and then put everything underneath it, and then try to take the grocery.
I mean that's kind of what I was suggesting, to just take the Ocado business and run it under its Ocado brand name, and not rebrand it, and not actually admit to any link to the Amazon empire. If indeed you have a weird case of reputational issue because you're Amazon and therefore rule the world, that sort of thing. And then of course you could use Amazon Fresh perhaps and do it, put it under that umbrella perhaps as well. One thing I don't know is where there might be actually moderate synergies if you actually look at the value chain, there is the warehousing technology, which is private to the warehouse, but then there's also the expertise and ability to manage the logistical connection between the warehouse and the end customers. And it seems to me that, well, Amazon is clearly very good at that. Ocado is also very good at that, I have to say. But perhaps there is an element there that they can actually use the existing Amazon logistical network and squeeze some more out of it.
Okay.
That's a possibility.
Yeah.
So we will see, but it's and of course it's not clear whether it's actually going to be waived past anyway. So we don't know whether it's going to be accepted.
So I mean, it is speculation. Can anyone else do it? Can anyone else come along and buy it? I don't know. I mean, I did joke before that maybe, Mike Ashley at the Fraser's Group. I mean, he seems to be in an acquisitive mood at the moment, and maybe he could come along and buy Ocado. I mean, who knows?
Elon Musk could buy it.
Elon Musk, yeah. Oh, have you heard of that thing with Elon and cage fighting with Mark Zuckerberg? Have you heard that? I said there's a thing. Apparently, it was a rumor on Twitter, and then they have said that it might go ahead.
Well, the actual cage fight, like an MTV death match, which of course doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, apparently. My money is most definitely on Zuckerberg because he already does. He's quite fit, and he already does MMA or BJJ or something. And I mean, he won't be very good. I mean, he's only done it for like 18 months or something, but Elon Musk does nothing apparently.
I'm going to bid on the outsider. That tends to make me.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Because of the horses, right?
I was at the races yesterday, and I made a little bit of money, which is nice. Because again, just to bring this up again, I don't actually get paid very much on this show. It took 2 years of begging to get the bleeding mug out of the man.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right.
Anyway, look. Thank you so much as always for being on here. Sorry. So guys, I mean, this is a short one because I've got to go and pick up my kids. But anyway, thank you very much indeed. It's been great as always, and we'll be back again next week.
Absolutely. Cheers.
Many thanks.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Bye.